Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Hage is already looking like a brilliant pick for the Montreal Canadiens. The 21st overall pick by the Habs in the 2024 draft is already making a splash, and today we're going to be talking about just how good he's been for the Michigan Wolverines so far, and what his future could look like for the Montreal Canadiens. So make sure you watch till the end for all that, and of course hit that subscribe button for more hockey prospect content just like this all throughout the year, presented by BetUS. Now, Michael Hage was a fascinating prospect for me during last year's draft process. He was somebody that I liked on and off quite a bit, snuck into my top 15 a couple of times, but ultimately landed 23rd in my prospect rankings. And there were some people by the end of the season that had him inside their top 15, inside their top 10 even, and it was pretty easy to see why. You can see in Hage's case, he's 6'1", 190 pounds as a centerman, and he's somebody that in the second half for the Chicago Steel last year was absolutely dynamic. He ended up finishing the season in 54 games, getting 33 goals, 42 assists for 75 points. Pretty great production for a draft year, especially in Chicago's case, they were not a great team. Going back to his draft year, to me, the highlight with Hage was his transitional ability, the way he's able to create on the rush, the way he's able to separate himself and create in the offensive zone, entering the end, and being able to make anything happen. I mean, you can see the confidence, the aggression that he has. He'll attack any defender no matter what and try to make the best play possible. To me, I think that's what Hage's creative moments are really about, the way he's able to deke around an individual D, the way he's able to get up the ice. He's somebody that has just so much offense brimming within him, and he's not afraid to use it. This goal of last year was one of my favorites, where he is just able to attack defensemen, attack the ice, and control the play. You can see how effortlessly he's able to glide up and get around the D and make a beautiful goal happen. But that's because of the mindset in Hage, the offense that he's able to provide. He's somebody that when he's at the top of his game can be a dynamic rush player, can be somebody that creates so much, especially when he has the puck, and that to me was the big highlight for him as an NHLer in the future. The problems for me were a little bit more in the overall game, when Hage didn't have the puck, when the game was in those dog days moments, when things weren't going his team's way and he wasn't able to get the puck consistently. You saw the problems starting to arise, where he kind of disappear in the play a little bit, not be too much of a factor in retrieving the puck or trying to get it back or trying to make plays. When Hage is at his worst, he can be a kind of invisible player, but you can see when he's at his best the moments that he's able to create. For me, I wanted to see him get stronger, I wanted to see him get more consistent, and I wanted to see that skating speed as well take a big jump, because in the NCAA, especially in Michigan, they love their strong skaters, they love the offense that they're able to bring, and in Hage's case, I thought he could be a core part of that team immediately if that skating were to take a step, and it seems like it has. As you can guys see already in the opening series against Minnesota State, not a bad team whatsoever, Michael Hage was truly brilliant offensively. In the 2 games, he put up a goal, 3 assists, 4 points, and almost all of them were beauties. Now we're gonna get into the highlights, but first I want to talk about today's sponsor in BetUS. And if you guys haven't signed up already, now is the time of the NHL season, now underway with that Devils and Sabres series, but you can go through every single game and make picks on who you think is gonna win, what you think is gonna end up happening, but you also got other options with all the awards. You got also Stanley Cup winners, and they also got some NHL specials already. This one I thought was pretty interesting. The top sniper among Russian players this year, so the top goal scorer. Right now, Nikita Kucherov is at minus 250, but I like Kirill Kaprizov's chances this year, honestly. If you put $10 down, you'll win 22 by the end. I'll take that bet right now. But go to betus.com and sign up using code YouTube150, and you'll get an 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit and an 125% sign-up bonus on your next deposits as well. But BetUS also has 24/7 customer service, 24/7 payouts, and if you're looking for a place to bet for this season, BetUS is the place to be. Now let's talk about the Michael Hage highlights here. Now Michigan is on the power play, so you got to factor that in, but already in the second period, he's making his mark. The puck is in the offensive zone, the D keeps it here, but here you can see Hage at the very top. See how he works around this player here, such a good little play, but then he finds the loose puck, and then right across is able to find William Whitelaw. A brilliant goal there, and I want to go back to that pass because he's able to find the open lane so effortlessly, and just a beautiful seam there, and it's 1-0 Michigan because of it. But one thing that I wanted to see Hage improve on was using his teammates, and especially using that playmaking a little bit more consistently. He was great on the rush, great goal scoring wise, but I wanted to see him use his team and become a little bit less individualistic, and you can already see on this play him committing to that with Michigan. This next assist was also a beautiful one. You can see Hage and his transitional ability really working well here, but I like the patience on this play, getting the puck to the net, finding his teammate so easily. I mean, this play is incredible to make in such fast motion, but Hage is able to make it so easily. And I think that's another part that has changed in Hage's game, because you could see the patience on the rush. He's somebody that was just trying to bring it every single time, and if this was last year, he might have tried to deke around all three of those D and try to make the play himself, but you can see how much he's trusting his teammates, how much that has grown in his game, and he's already got 2 assists because of it. Now, in the second game, we saw Hage get his 3rd assist of the weekend, and this one was also pretty underrated, but he's getting the puck here from the D, and he's right along his own blue line. But Hage already realizes how much of a threat he can be to other teams, so he knows that teams are going to be drawing in against him, trying to put pressure on him. But look how Hage is able to make space for his teammate here. Along his own blue line, he gets the puck and just effortlessly gets it across to Hallam, who ends up making it 1-0 for Michigan. Now, a fantastic play there on the rush, obviously, to get that assist, but I like what Hage was doing there, basically drawing the play into himself so that he can expose that with his playmaking and open up the lane for his teammate. It's simple hockey plays there that win you games, and in Hage's case, it was exactly what they needed to start that game off. It was in the first minute and a half of the game, and that's what Michigan needed. But Hage wasn't done in this first period. Yet again, another great play, and this time, we get to see that goal scoring on the rush that was such a patented move by him in the USHL last year. You can see he's getting the puck from this stretch pass, but just a beautiful play to bring some speed, and that little play right there is just so good. This is what we saw a lot out of Hage last year. You can see how he sees the lane, and the defender is attacking him pretty well here, playing him as aggressively as possible. But look what Hage does, almost using the defender's size to get past him and end up getting that shot off. He'll end up putting the puck right above the D, right where his stick isn't, so that he can just barely get that shot off and almost catches the goalie off guard. I mean, it definitely did on this play, getting the goal, but I love that sneaky little play because it just creates so much havoc. It puts the defender in such a rough spot, especially when you're able to get the shot off as quickly as Hage can. We already saw that a lot in the USHL last year. The Chicago Steel, after that goal, actually posted 2 different instances of Hage doing this last year. Pretty much this exact same play happened on the left side of the screen, you can see, versus Green Bay, where he's able to push past the defenseman, put it between the legs or above the legs, and just get that quick snapper off. And I believe in the next play too, it was almost the exact same situation where Hage is working, and especially in overtime, this was pretty slick to see too, where he ends up wrapping around and again getting past that body of the defender to get that quick shot off. It's something that is very hard to pull off in this fast motion game. It's something that only really, I would say, some of the elite NHLers can pull off, but it is an elite skill by Hage, and he certainly knows how to use it. Now, there were still some blemishes here and there defensively, but in his first couple games, the fact that he was already able to transition that offense is going to make it a lot easier to transition the rest of his games to the NCAA and figure that out eventually. And it's not like they were playing against some random team like Lindenwood or something. They were playing Minnesota State, who play hard, they can play defensive, they can win games, and they did in that first game versus Michigan. But I think in Hage's case, the fact that he was able to already play against some pretty big boys, I mean, especially for some of these teams, they are older, they are bigger, and for Hage already, the fact that he's able to prove himself in the NCAA is great news. I didn't really have too much concern about his time at Michigan because Michigan is so good at giving these guys offensive opportunities and developing him well. But in the case of Hage, I think he's going to benefit from it just so much, and already is, playing top 6 center minutes and getting those type of opportunities. And you can see his latest position in the line chart with Michigan. In his second game, ended up playing second line center minutes with Jackson Holm and Nick Moldenhauer. I do like Moldenhauer quite a bit, but I would like to see one day Hage and William Whitelaw getting some 5-on-5 time together, because I think those two guys could be absolutely dynamic. But whatever ends up happening, it seems like Hage is pretty locked into that second line center position, and already as a freshman, you can't really ask much more than that, especially for a team as good as Michigan there offensively. But I also want to talk about draft position here with Hage, Hage and what it's looking like now with him drafted 21st overall, because I had in my prospect rankings him 23rd and the Habs took him a couple of spots higher. But even with that, I adored the pick because of what it could be for the Habs. Even though I had him 23rd, I could have absolutely seen potential there to be a top 15 pick. You could have absolutely made the case, and I think you would have a good argument that second half Hage would be a top 15 player in last year's draft by far. I still had some doubts over the defensive game and how that would transition over, and if he had that game-breaking skill to be a top 6 center, which I think he might have to be, but the jury's still out on that. Still, though, at 21st overall, with what he's been able to show already, he's looking like a great pick there. But you look at some of the players that were drafted ahead of him, guys like Adam Jiricek, I would instantly take him over Tarek Parasak personally. There's just a couple of picks there where I think they could have used, especially in cases like the Caps, where I think they could have really benefited from another top forward coming into the system. But I think in Parasak's case, he could be solid. Hage could be something special here, though, offensively. And at 21st overall, that's exactly the type of range you want to get somebody like that. He will be a project for sure. In a lot of ways, he is still unrefined, but the fact that we've already seen this progress is huge. And now I kind of wish I ranked him a little bit higher because he was somebody that was flirting with the top 15 to me at his personal best. And maybe I should have bet on that like the Montreal Canadiens did, because so far it's looking absolutely brilliant. There is still, of course, a lot of season to go, but already Hage looks like the leader offensively for Michigan, and that's pretty exciting to see at 18 years old. Now, here's the thing that gets interesting, because when we look at the Habs' future, of course, you already have some quality top centers in Suzuki and Kirby Dach as that second line C. So the question becomes, where does he slot in? Because you're probably going to have Owen Beck as that fourth line center, and I think you could pretty easily make the case that Hage could be that third line center for you, or you could potentially have him on the wing if you want some more depth there. But I think most likely he will be that third line center. Now, that scares me a little bit because I think Hage as a third line center can work, but I don't think he's going to be this defensive guy who you're going to be slotting in those bottom minutes of the third, trying to protect a lead. I don't think Hage is ever going to be that type of player. There will be improvements defensively, and I think physically will be the big thing that improves over the years, but I don't think it's ever going to be the strength for him. And I think you might have to shelter him a little bit with wingers defensively that can really put up some good numbers with him. And I think that might be the way that Montreal has to go if they have him as a third line center going forward. But I don't really see it as much of a problem, especially in Hage's case where he's so dynamic offensively, where you have him as a third line center, and the fact that you could have somebody that is so good offensively there as a third line guy, to me, is a strength and not something to look down upon. But I do think Hage is the type of player that can pretty effectively transition onto the wing. I think center fits him best with his skating style and the way that he's able to put himself forward, but I don't think it's out of the question that Montreal has a lot of options here. I mean, even a player like Demidov has gotten some reps at center over the last year, so even he's somebody that could switch positions potentially. Montreal just has so many options, and that's, I think, what is most exciting here, is that they have so many things to look forward to, and the center position, I think, is a main one. You're gonna have Suzuki, you're gonna have Dach, you're gonna have Hage, you're gonna have Owen Beck, and I think all of those positions fit themselves pretty perfectly. You could even have Dach as the third line center if you want to have Hage more as the sheltered second line guy, but I think it could work that way as well. Any way they do it, I think it's perfect, especially with a player like Owen Beck being a fourth line center. I think that's the perfect position for him, and I think that's a reason why they drafted another center in the first round, was just to get that more options there going forward, and especially lock down that third line center spot, which I think they have. To me, projecting Hage to the next level, I see a middle six centerman who is able to drive possession himself, which is something of a bit of a rarity, especially at that range of the draft. Somebody that can create and drive possession by himself as a centerman, I think, is an extremely valuable thing to have in your system, and Hage seems to be that type of player. I still think there are things defensively that he'll have to learn, have to get better at, and I think skating-wise, that could become a little bit of an issue in terms of generating speed, especially when he has the puck, when he's just getting it going, but that's something that I think can improve over time, especially with Michigan, who I think have developed some of the best skaters in the NHL. You just look at Quinn Hughes especially. I think Hage is in the right company, the right hands, and especially with how the Habs develop their players, he's going to get the best opportunity to play and the best opportunity to be the best player he can be. In terms of point potential, I think as a third line center, you're going to be limited a little bit, but I could see him being a 40-50 point guy if he gets the power play opportunity, if he's able to really get the offensive looks that he does deserve. He's somebody that I think honestly can be a second line center. I think he's somebody that can reach that type of potential. So we'll just have to wait and see what ends up happening. He's somebody though that is going to be a good bet to be excited about because he's already getting going and the sky is the limit here, folks. books. But I'd love to hear your thoughts down below on what you see Michael Hage being in the future. Do you see him overtaking a Kirby Dach for that second line center spot? Do you see him being a third line center? Do you see him transitioning onto the wing for the Montreal Canadiens? I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. Of course, make sure you share the video of all the hockey, all the Habs fans you guys know online. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and click on this card for all my hockey prospects talk in one playlist. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will see you in the next one. Make sure you sign up to BetUS today, and goodbye.